If you thought the hostage situation at Windermere was already suffocating, you have absolutely no idea what the writers have cooked up for Sweeps Week. Right now, the situation on Spoon Island is nothing short of a pressure cooker waiting to explode. We all know that Jocelyn is missing, presumed to be held captive in the dark, damp bowels of Windermere by the ruthless Ross Cullum. Valentine Cassadine has already made the ultimate sacrifice, turning himself over to the WSB and reaching out to the mysterious head of the agency in Geneva to expose Cullum as the dirty, double-crossing agent he truly is. But if you ask me, Valentine's noble sacrifice might be completely in vain because Carly simply cannot sit still. You guys know Carly just as well as I do. When one of her children is in danger, logic goes completely out the window. She is pacing the floors, her anxiety skyrocketing, and she has reached a breaking point. The leaked script reveals that Carly makes a desperate, impulsive decision that will change everything. Carly decides she cannot wait for the authorities to handle this, and she certainly cannot wait for Valentine to save the day from a jail cell in Switzerland. She decides to take matters into her own hands, and she recruits none other than Lucas Jones for a highly dangerous, off-the-books rescue mission. Now, you might be asking, why Lucas? Well, if you remember the rich history of this show, Lucas has an intimate knowledge of the Windermere estate. He knows the hidden corridors, the forgotten servant passages, and the secret tunnels that weave beneath that gothic monstrosity. Carly begs Lucas to help her break into the castle to find Jocelyn before Cullum can make her disappear forever. The upcoming episodes will feature a heart-pounding sequence where Carly and Lucas use the cover of darkness to infiltrate Spoon Island. I am hearing that the cinematography for these scenes is incredibly dark and moody, really emphasizing the terrifying reality of what they are walking into. Lucas expertly guides Carly through the hidden catacombs, bypassing Cullum's heavily armed guards. For a brief shining moment, it actually looks like this crazy plan might work. They navigate the cold stone walls, listening to the eerie echoes of the castle, desperately searching for any sign of Jocelyn or Liesel Obrecht. But guys, this is General Hospital during Sweeps Week, and happy endings do not come this easily. Here is where the insider leak gets truly terrifying. Ross Cullum is not just some low-level thug, he is a highly trained, deeply corrupt agent who has been playing a massive game of chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He anticipated this exact move. Cullum knew that Carly's maternal instincts would override her common sense. He intentionally left a vulnerability in his security perimeter, a breadcrumb trail designed specifically to lure her deep into the castle. As Carly and Lucas creep further into the heart of Windermere, the trap violently springs shut. Cullum's men ambush them in the dark, cutting off all avenues of escape. The confrontation is brutal and swift. Carly is captured right there, in the shadowy halls of Windermere. Imagine the absolute terror in her eyes as Ross Cullum steps into the light, that smug, menacing grin on his face, thanking her for delivering herself right into his hands. My source tells me the dialogue in this scene is chilling. Cullum now has the ultimate leverage. He doesn't just have Liesel and Jocelyn, he has the great Carly Spencer. By adding Carly to his collection of hostages, Cullum has effectively neutralized any threat she posed from the outside, and he has secured a high-value pawn in his twisted endgame involving the cold fusion prototype. But what about Lucas? In the absolute chaos of the ambush, Lucas manages to slip away. It is a narrow, skin-of-his-teeth escape that will have you holding your breath. He is forced to make the agonizing decision to leave Carly behind, knowing that if he is captured too, there will be no one left on the outside to sound the alarm. Lucas scrambles back through the secret tunnels, his heart pounding out of his chest, and manages to flee Spoon Island. But escaping the island is only the beginning of his absolute nightmare. Once Lucas is safely back on the mainland, the crushing reality of the situation hits him like a ton of bricks. He is a doctor, not a mercenary. He is completely out of his depth dealing with rogue agents, international espionage, and heavily armed guards. He knows he cannot go to the police. Dante and Chase are already tied up in knots over Jen Sidwell's escape and the mess with Cassius Faison. Plus, bringing official law enforcement to Windermere could trigger Cullum to eliminate the hostages immediately. Lucas needs someone with immense power, someone with an army, someone who operates outside the boundaries of the law. And so, Lucas runs straight to Sonny Corinthos. I mean, who else could he possibly turn to in a moment of such profound desperation? Sonny is the only man in Port Charles with the resources, the manpower, and the sheer ruthlessness required to storm a fortress like Windermere. Lucas bursts into Sonny's office, completely frantic and out of breath, and delivers the devastating news. Carly and Jocelyn are both being held hostage by a rogue agent on Spoon Island, and they are rapidly running out of time. Now, let's talk about Sonny for a second. We all know Sonny has been dealing with his own massive headaches lately. He has been strategizing with Rick Lansing about Jen Sidwell being on the loose. He has been pressuring Ava Jerome, trying to set traps for his enemies. But the moment Lucas utters Carly and Jocelyn's names, everything else ceases to matter. The leaked script indicates that Sonny goes into full mob boss mode. The blinding anger, the fierce protective fury, it is going to be a phenomenal performance from Maurice Bernard. Sonny immediately begins mobilizing his men, preparing to launch a full-scale armed assault on Windermere to rip his family from Cullum's grasp. But guys, if you ask me, this is exactly where the writers are pulling off their most brilliant and devious twist yet. I have been analyzing these spoilers, and I am entirely convinced that this entire scenario, Carly's capture, Lucas's escape, and the inevitable run to Sonny, is not an accident. It is a meticulously crafted setup. Ross Cullum let Lucas escape. Think about it for a second. A highly trained tactical agent does not just accidentally lose a civilian doctor in a castle he has completely locked down. Cullum wanted Lucas to run back to Port Charles. He wanted Lucas to go straight to Sonny. Why? Because Cullum knows that Sonny Corinthos is the biggest, most dangerous obstacle in Port Charles. By capturing Carly and Jocelyn, Cullum has essentially painted a giant, glowing bullseye on Windermere, practically begging Sonny to attack. But Cullum is not working alone. We know he is secretly partnered with Jen Sidwell. Sidwell has been orchestrating a cunning and chaotic revenge trap for his enemies, specifically targeting Sonny, Laura, and Lucas. What if Windermere is the ultimate kill box? What if Cullum and Sidwell have turned Spoon Island into an impenetrable fortress designed specifically to slaughter Sonny and his men? If Sonny charges into Windermere with his guns blazing, driven by blind rage and desperation to save Carly, he is walking right into a meticulously planned slaughterhouse. This is the leaked climax that has everyone behind the scenes buzzing. Sonny is about to launch a rescue mission that could turn into the biggest, bloodiest disaster in General Hospital history. He could be captured himself, or worse, he could trigger a massive firefight that costs the lives of the very people he is trying to save. Cullum has anticipated Sonny's every move, using his predictable, hot-headed mob tactics against him. The stakes have literally never been higher, ladies. We are looking at a potential massive casting shakeup if this storyline goes as dark as my insider suggests. With Jen Sidwell pulling the violent strings in the background and Ross Cullum holding all the precious cards at Windermere, Sonny is facing an enemy that he cannot simply intimidate or shoot his way through. The tactical advantage of the agency combined with Sidwell's chaotic revenge plot creates an impossible, suffocating scenario. If Sonny falls into this trap, the Corinthos Empire could crumble overnight, and Carly and Jocelyn could be lost forever. And let's not forget how this impacts everyone else on the canvas. If Sonny is neutralized, who is left to protect Port Charles from Sidwell's wrath? Ava Jerome is already caught in the crossfire. Jason Morgan is sitting in custody, unable to help his best friend because he is covering up Rocco's crime. The timing of all this is far too perfect to be a coincidence. Cullum and Sidwell have systematically isolated the most powerful players in town. They have removed Jason from the board, they have lured Carly into a cage, and now they are dangling the ultimate bait for Sonny. The major secret set to be exposed in the upcoming episodes is the full, terrifying extent of Cullum and Sidwell's partnership. The evidence is going to drop that proves they have been coordinating this exact scenario for weeks, playing our favorite characters like absolute fools. When Sonny finally realizes that he has been played, that his desperate rescue mission was the intended goal of his enemies all along, the psychological toll is going to be devastating to watch. Will he realize it before he steps foot on Spoon Island, or will the trap jaws close around him just like they did with Carly? This is the kind of edge-of-your-seat, heart-stopping television that we live for. The writers are pushing these legacy characters to their absolute breaking points, and I cannot wait to see how the explosive fallout reshapes the entire canvas. So, I have to ask you, do you think Sonny will realize he is walking into a deadly, orchestrated trap before it is too late? Or is the great Corinthos Empire about to be brought to its knees by Ross Cullum and Jen Sidwell? Drop your thoughts, your wildest theories, and your frustrations in the comments below, because I want to read every single one of them.